checking in with the first two chapters in Before They Were Hanged, which is number 2 in the First Law grim, dark fantasy series by British author Joe Abercrombie, where in book 1, at least as pertains to this part of the very first opening of this book, we knew that a fairly vicious northern kind of king guy who was completely did not like Logan Ninefingers and his fellow kind of mercenaries, most prominently Dogman, Phil Dogman, no, Dogman, really didn't like them, had gathered together people to go and attack Adua, which is the most northern outpost of this kind of very rich, successful, and probably decadent, decaying, weakened empire, Adua Empire, the Union. And they decided they would attack them, and they indeed have attacked. And in this book, we learned that what happened was that they had not emailed, they had sent instructions to the Lord High Governor of the Adua region to basically pull back your troops, sit still, sit in your major outpost city, and don't allow yourselves to get drawn out and wait for reinforcements. He's a very proud Lord Governor whose people had first settled this place. There was no way they were going to let some barbarians make them hide under the walls. They sent out all the troops, and there was a slaughter in which all the Lord High Governor's sons were all killed, and he is now a shell of a man. And now they have to actually stalk the government. The novel opens with Dogman and the rest of the fellows of the kind of the scrappy northern fellows who kind of come upon the scene of like, oh, here are all these Union guys completely butchered, and yep, this is how they trapped them up against the river, and they just took them from here. It's very good at kind of painting a picture of just militarily how nope, they were fucked, and they broke pretty easily and they were butchered. It's like, okay. And so they go down to the main outpost where they're being flooded by incredibly scared settlers who are all like, oh my god, the Northerners are going to come and all kill us in our beds. And yes, we rejoin Column West, who is at this point Major West, who is kind of attached to the head general, high commander, whatever the fuck, Burr, who is another low. They're both kind of low guys who have gotten promoted up because of their abilities and are thus hated by all of the nobility, who think no way should lowborns be in positions of power, even if they are actually competent. And I love how Abercrombie has it's split. It's an army, but it's an army that's split into factions, where you've got two generals who hate each other's guts. And indeed, as Burr reveals, both had high placed friends who were agitating for them to become the high commander. But because they basically kind of canceled each other out, they ended up picking a nobody, Burr. And he's like, yeah, and if one of them dies tomorrow, well, then I will immediately get demoted, and the other one will get put into power. So it's in my best interest to keep them both alive. And they're both basically seeking their own personal glory. They're gonna try and stymie me at every opportunity. And the third commander is is the um, the crown prince, the next in line to the throne, who is a silly fop. Who, his uniform is more like a dressing gown, surrounded by other young fops, and it's just like, oh my god, these guys would just get themselves killed. And so he has the two warring generals doing the actual job, where it's like, okay, we're going to send you over here to guard the western line. It's like, it's and by no means never ever actually cross the river, where the because that's where Bethod and his group are. They're in the basically Afghanistan area of, like, horribly hard to traverse in snow. They're just gonna mincemeat an army, big standing army, by picking them off. And it's like the prince is like, you're setting us to guard duty. He's like, oh no, you are our rock. You are the ones who, you will stand between us and utter destruction. And it's like, no, you're totally guard duty. And guess what? West gets to be seconded to them, because you need to make sure that he doesn't do anything really stupid. You need to keep him alive. He is the next in line for the throne, and the father and the king is senile and clinging to life. So it's like, but they need to get him in a little bit of glory, so they've sent him out here thinking it's going to be somewhat easy pickings or something like that, which is like, oh god, they are the ones who are easy pickings. We have all the signs of super hard, super lean barbarians who are basically fighting machines, versus Union, which is spoiled, lazy, aren't taking their foes seriously. It's going to be bad. Now Dogman and his group, they come down and offer their services, but the guy at the gate tells them to fuck off. It's like, maybe if we need mules, you could thing. And so they decide to take a different route. Burr and West are riding along, and they for fun, they decide to do a little ride ahead, and then they get ambushed and taken down immediately, quick. And there's like these Bruges guys with swords, and like, oh fuck, Bethud sent assassins, we're about to be murdered. And I mean, West was just thinking, oh god, if he breaks his neck, we're in trouble, because they'd probably put the crown prince in charge of everything, and then we'd really be screwed. And he's thinking, oh god, we're going to die, and look at these horrible murders. And it turns out it's Dogman and his group, and they're like, oh, this is just our getting your attention. We'd like to be of service. And Burr, who is kind of a salt of the earth kind of guy, it doesn't puff up and like, oh, we should have them arrested or something. He goes, no, nicely met. You've caught my attention. Great. West, you've got some useful fellows to have. They should get along great with the high crown prince and all his pompous little lordling underlings, which is just a great kind of Abercrombie humor. I mean, for all the grim dark of these books, they are sprinkled with great things of humor of that. And then, people will get horribly butchered and killed, but it's like, I love having the Lord the High Commander of the army is like, that was a good audition. You almost murdered me. And you can see why he is actually the head of the army, and hopefully he would. You can see things getting bad and him getting killed, because he is too capable. For Abercrombie, will definitely want to turn the screws by getting him killed, to really put them into the shit. Though, I mean, I think they're going to be in the shit regardless, one way or the other. So yeah, that's the first 2 chapters of Until They're Hanged, which apparently is a quote from a thing saying, we'll forgive our enemies, but not until they are but not before they are hanged. Which I'll have to look up that quote from exactly and see what the context of it is. All right. I like Abercrombie. I'm glad I actually did finally do the Blade itself. Really enjoyed that, and we'll probably catch up with Logan Nine Fingers and their more mystical kind of magic-y kind of quest, because I can't remember that side. I think there's some kind of evil cabal of magic users who are, you know, doing something bigger, who are manipulating Bethod for the more fantasy end of this story. But I can't remember that precisely right now. But Abercrombie has been good to remind me of this part of the story. Wes' really savage kind of berserker anger. I don't know if it's berserker, if it's just horrible anger, where this kind of the good guy of the book nearly throttled his sister to death because he got so pissed off at her. And it's like, and he was like, that's his regret as he thinks he's about to get murdered by Dogman's group. It's like, fuck, I never made that right. And it's like, maybe he'll get to make that right. That would be good. All right. More videos later.